Bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite, buongiorno, buonasera, dzień dobry, dobry wieczór i jak va? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you may be. The Brighton Sisters case. All I wanted to do in this video was to read out the crime report, well, the missing persons report, on the fourth sister. The video I made yesterday, I labored the point that, yeah, we've got the three sisters, the three dead sisters in Brighton mystery. The inquest on Friday should tell us a lot, but you never know. Um, but my focus was, if we can find out what happened to the fourth sister, she's called Lillian, the half sister, who is living in Texas, USA. Then if we find out what happened to her, we might have a clue what happened to the three other sisters. Because the fourth one, Lillian, she went missing. Lillian Jacobson was her name, still is her name, but she went missing in Luton in 2014 and is now, and I guess has been for some time, living in Texas. So we can speculate on what might have happened there, but whatever happened there, I would suggest might give a clue what happened to the three older sisters in Brighton. So let's have a look through the case. It really is quite interesting. And as far as I know, this is still a missing persons report, is still a missing persons case. I don't think anyone has contacted Crime Stoppers or police in the UK to let them know that Lillian isn't missing at all, that she's absolutely fine in Texas, it would seem. All right, let's just read it through. So, if you Google Lillian Jacobson, Jacobson, disappeared, you'll find the Facebook Street Crime USA UK report and several others that mention Lillian's disappearance. So it's not difficult to find at all. Um, Having said that, it's gone. There it is. All right, so Street Crime UK, 27th of December 2025. It says Lillian Jacobson missing since 2014. So this Street Crime UK report from 2025, end of 2025, is like an update, I guess, or just a refresh to make sure everyone knows that Lillian is still missing, even though she isn't. Lillian Jacobson, missing since 2014. Now, remember, the father of the three Brighton sisters goes by three different names. Um, in the case, he's known as Joseph Adetoro, but on Facebook, he is Joseph Toro without the Ade. And he's also got a Facebook account and also goes by Joseph Jacobson. All right, here we go. Lillian Jacobson, missing since 2014. She left for school one winter morning and never arrived. More than a decade later, there are still no confirmed sightings, no public answers, and a child has seemingly vanished without a trace. Well, if you have Facebook, sorry, I'm interjecting here. If you have Facebook and you put in Lily Toro Jacobson, Lilly, I think, could be Lily, Toro, Toro, and Jacobson, Jacobson, you'll see her Facebook page says from Luton, living in Dallas, Texas. Obviously she's the right age, because when Lillian Jacobson went missing from Luton, she was age 13, and that was in 2014. And the Lily Toro Jacobson that's now in Texas is, it's now 2026, and she's 25 years old. So, um, no, wait, if she was Missing since 2014 when she was 13 years old. Yeah, it's 2026, so she's 2025. She's 25 years old, I'm sure of that. Let's get on with the report. At around 7 a.m. on the 12th of December 2014, Lillian Jacobson, aged just 13, left her uncle's address in Luton, Bedfordshire, to attend school. That seems odd. What is she doing at her uncle's address? Now, Joseph Adetoro is on the electoral roll 192.com as having a Luton address, but he's the dad, isn't he? Why would Lillian be leaving her uncle's address? Anyway, she never arrived. From that moment on, Lillian has not been seen or heard from again. Bedford, well, she has from the family. The family know exactly where Lillian is and always did, I would submit. But for the rest of us, we never knew. Bedfordshire Police issued an appeal describing Lillian as black, of slight build, with short black braided hair. No description of the clothing she was wearing. Uh-huh. The morning has ever been made public. Despite the seriousness of a 13-year-old going missing on a school morning, very little information has been released in the years since. Police believe Lillian may be with her mother, Genevieve Adetoro, who was 47 at the time. Let's pause here. Now, we've been told the stepmother of the Brighton Three, the three sisters found dead in Brighton Beach, we've been told that it's their stepmother, who is called Genevieve Barnaby Adetoro. Actually, I think she has the title of doctor. I've seen that she is Dr. Genevieve Barnaby Adetoro. I'm not sure what kind of doctor, but that's what I've seen. So if she's the stepmother, then it would make sense that she is actually the mother of Lillian, that Joseph and Genevieve had Lillian. Okay, so Genevieve Adetoro, who was 47 at the time. Officers from the Bedfordshire Missing Persons Unit stated that they were concerned for Lillian's welfare. Beyond that, the case has remained largely silent. What makes this disappearance particularly troubling is the background surrounding Lillian's mother and the emotional circumstances Lillian was living through at the time. In 2014, the same year she disappeared, Lillian created a change.org petition that offers a rare and heartbreaking insight into her life and mental state. In the petition, written in her own words, Lillian explained that her mother, Genevieve Adetoro, had been detained at Yarlswood Immigration Removal Centre since August 2013. Let me intervene here because I have read this petition and I have read the words pretty carefully, and they do not strike me as the words of a 13-year-old girl. They strike me as the words of an adult that has told the girl to write this. That's how it seems to me. But if you want to look up the change.org petition that Lillian Jacobson wrote, you can correct me if I'm wrong and say, no, that's a child's writing. But anyway, so this is interesting. It says that Genevieve, detained at Yarlswood Immigration Removal Centre since August 2013. So to my knowledge, the stepmother, Genevieve, of the Brighton Three Sisters, she's now in the UK. So how does that go together? 2013, she was in Yarlswood Immigration Removal Centre. Sounds like she shouldn't be in the UK. Here we are in 2026. Sounds like she is in the UK. Genevieve is a Nigerian citizen who had lived in the UK since 1996. Lillian described how deeply her mother's detention affected her. She wrote that her mother was seriously ill, in a wheelchair, and unable to walk. Let me interject. If you've seen anything on social media of Lillian's mother and the Brighton Three Sisters stepmother, you'll see that she's perfectly able to walk. She's not in a wheelchair. She just seems quite fine. Lillian said she did not know what to do without her mother, that she missed her desperately, and that the separation had caused her such distress that she began self-harming. She also mentioned that her father was seriously ill at the time. Now, if you've looked on social media and you see Joseph Adetoro's social media posts, his Facebook posts, every year it's his birthday, it seems like he asks for donations for cancer. Um, so I assume that Joseph Adetoro may well have had cancer. I don't know. Again, I've got to say he looks in pretty good health. He doesn't look like he's sick, but give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he had cancer and got over it and just looked fine all the way through. Genevieve's medical history is extensive and severe. She had been arrested at work in 2006 for being undocumented. While serving a sentence in 2007, she suffered a stroke. After completing her sentence, she was not released back to her family and community in Luton. Instead, she was transferred to Yarl's Wood. God, this is so interesting because, you know, the the Dr. Genevieve Barnaby editorial that we see and hear from doesn't sound like this person at all. Not at all. And it makes me wonder if there are two different people in play here. Following her stroke, Genevieve was left paralyzed on her left side and reliant on a wheelchair. She suffered from craniovertebral anomalies, angina, hypertension, sickle cell anemia, osteoarthritis, and depression. She reportedly required around the clock care, depended on others for bathing, feeding, and dressing, and took 15 different medications each day. Again, that does not sound like the stepmothers of the Brighton Sisters that we have heard from and seen. It's either two different people or someone is not being truthful here. Against this backdrop, Lillian's disappearance raises deeply troubling questions. You bet. If police believe Lillian may be with her mother, how could a severely disabled woman detained in an immigration facility be caring for or travelling with a 13-year-old child? Was Lillian attempting to reunite with her mother? Was she helped by an adult? Did she leave voluntarily? Or was she taken? Equally concerning is the lack of public information about what happened in the immediate aftermath. Who raised Lillian had not arrived at school. Sorry, who realized Lillian had not arrived at school? When was she officially reported missing? What steps were taken in the first hours and days? These details have never been clearly shared. Lillian was a vulnerable child, living under immense emotional strain, separated from a critically ill mother, and expressing distress and self-harm in her own words. That context makes her disappearance impossible to dismiss as a simple runaway case. Someone knows what happened to Lillian Jacobson? Someone helped her leave, saw her that morning, or knows where she went. After all these years, her case remains unresolved, her voice silenced, and her fate unknown. Well, no, as I say, I can tell you, according to her own social media post, she is in Texas, USA. And I'm assuming all her family know how she got there, why she got there, what the deal was. The only thing I can suggest is because we have this mention of the mother having immigration issues, could it be that the family decided, or the father decided, it would be best to get the child out of the UK, maybe with friends or family in USA, and maybe that's what happened. But then why? Why would it be necessary after all this time to just pretend that Lillian vanished and disappeared when it was planned that she would leave the country? I don't know. The mother, this Genevieve character, again, these two can't be true. It can't be that Genevieve was in this dire condition in 2014, but today looks and sounds absolutely fine. Are we talking about two different people, or is this description of Genevieve something that the family put out there and it's all bogus nonsense? If Genevieve really were in a um, immigration or migrant removal center, if that was the case, how could she be in the UK now? Was something resolved? Did the mother go with Lillian over to the States and maybe sneak back into the country? And if we're talking about sneaking back in the country, is it not possible that maybe the Brighton Three, maybe they were not supposed to be in the UK? It's hard to imagine that Jane and Christina and Rebecca could have lived year after year in the UK without being legally here. But cases like that do happen. I don't know. Is it possible they were trying to sneak back into the UK and it all went terribly wrong? I just hope that the police actually investigate this. I have a nasty feeling they might not. It could well end up, could it not, that on Friday's inquest, all they're looking to do is to ascertain the identification of these three. And it may be that whatever paperwork they had on them in their handbag and the father saying, yep, those are my three daughters. Is that enough to say they are identified? And the evidence that they drowned is presented, so they drowned by accident. Nothing to see here. Case over. I hope it doesn't go like that because to me it's pretty clear something is amiss. I'll do another video on the location of all these people. It really is a mystery. For example, we were told that all three sisters lived in Uxbridge. There's only one of them, Christina, that has her name as per the electoral roll, or 192.com, connected with Uxbridge. I mentioned this in my last video. Jane Aditoro doesn't pop up anywhere. There is no Jane Aditoro in the country, it would seem. Rebecca Walters, there's plenty of those, but again, not one in Uxbridge. And it's funny how the three of them do everything as a three. I mean, yes, to a certain extent, three sisters could be close, but just seems so odd that they all, it seems, left home, Birmingham at the same time, went to Uxbridge together at the same time, all left Uxbridge at the same time, all went to Brighton together, all drowned together. The only photograph that I've seen of these three sisters is when they're babies. So if we assume that the sisters never did grow up in the UK, well, there's no photographs of them, what could have happened to them? Like Lillian, did they get flown out of the country, grew up somewhere else? Who are those three people that died in the water? Is it these three? Is it the three sisters, or is it three other poor people, and for some reason, maybe some scam as far as identity or insurance fraud, whatever. Is there some scam going on here that went terribly wrong? Dunno. The GoFundMe is rolling along. What's it up to? 40,000 now. This has echoes of Jay Slater, doesn't it? You got to start looking at the GoFundMe as the numbers go up and say, was this the whole point of it? I don't think it was, but it might be. All right, let's leave it there. There's a lot to say on this case, but fingers crossed on Friday at the inquest we get some solid answers. I fear we won't, but I'll just end this by saying what I said about Lillian at the beginning. If we can figure out why Lillian just disappeared from Luton, but the family knew where she was, and she reappears in America, if we can figure out the story behind all that, we may well be able to figure out what happened to the three sisters that ended up dead on the beach at Brighton. All right, let's leave it there. Hasta luego. Adios. Hasta la vista. See you next time.